go into listening to Mr. K. Shaji, who is a senior journalist based in Kerala. And he currently serves as contributing editor to National Herald. He reports extensively on rural distress, environmental conflicts, governance, caste and tribal issues, development, politics, and human rights across South India. He began his journalism career in 2000 with the New Indian Express and has worked with several leading national publications, including The Hindu, The Times of India, The Helka, Open, HuffPost India, South First, and Outlook as well. So his reporting and investigative work have also appeared in international outlets such as The Guardian, the BBC, the Financial Times, and Mangalwadi. He is widely known for his ground-reported investigative narratives. Mr. Shaji's work focuses on intersection of ecology, livelihoods, and public policy, documenting how environmental change, infrastructure expansion, and governance decisions shape the lives of vulnerable communities across southern India. It's a real joy to have him join us today to present to us the life of Mr. Vellathooval, who found the cross to be more inspiring him from where he was as an Naxalite. So Mr. Shaji would be giving us an account of his life, and then Mr. Prashant will speak to us on the analysis of Naxalism in the light of missionary transformation. So we will be learning from both these great experts, and Brother Prashant is a researcher with India Research. He has been spearheading this India Research initiative since 2021. So we have crossed 5 years, and he has done extensive programs with a lot of resource people. And it's a joy to have him today present for us how this life shows us the love of God through the missionary work in Kerala. So over to you, Mr. Shaji. Please take over and you can present your perspectives on Mr. Vellathooval Stephen.
And good evening, everybody. It is a great opportunity to have meeting all of you. And I'm not a good speaker. Normally, my work is journalism, and we are reporting from the countryside. We are meeting ordinary people and bringing their issues to the larger perspective, to the nation, to the world outside. And out of my curiosity, as part of my work, I had to occasionally engage with different kinds of former Naxalites who transformed into different kinds of personalities over the time, and they contributed significantly to the growth of the Kerala society. From people who look at Kerala from outside, they identify Kerala while comparing with the rest of India, has made several advancements in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, in terms of equality, in terms of general well-being. And I'm sure a sizable portion of it must be attributed to these earlier revolutionaries. Personally, I am not a revolutionary. I don't adopt their kind of armed struggle. And basically, I am a Nehruist, I am a Gandhian. But I still believe this kind of people, whatever be their methodologies, whatever be their tactics, they significantly contributed to the social change. And the positive results of that social change are now being experienced by the later generations, especially the present generation, to whom people like Vellathooval Stephen might be a myth. They may be a legend. Or for some hardcore political loyalists, he may be an opportunist. So the thing is that we are not people to judge anybody. And years ago, I went to Idukki to meet Vellathooval Stephen. And that time, somebody told me, you go to a place called Vellathooval. And literally translating, The name Vellathooval means, Vellathooval is the name of a village. Vella in Malayalam, it is white. Thuval means feather. So it is a white feather. It means a good omen. It is a kind of good hope. And on the way, somebody told me, and I got phone number of Stephen, and Stephen humbly told me, I was a native of Vellathooval, but I now shifted my house to another place named Cherachuvadu. It is little away. It is a little far, little interior. And he said after spending a lot of years in the jail, he came back. He never wanted to go back to his own village where the people will judge him in terms of his work, in terms of his contributions, but often his relatives and other people may underestimate him. So he preferred another place. He preferred one non-descriptive village named Cherachuvadu. It is close to the Idukki district headquarters, Painavu. It is a forest area. There I found him as a tailor, a humble tailor who is stitching dresses and making very little money out of it. And there I found a humble human being and very concerned about people around. And he was very open and he was very magnanimous. And I felt a kind of engagement with him, that a feeling that I have been knowing him for several years. For the first time I am meeting him. The distances he melted easily. He came very close to me. And we were talking as if some close friends for several years. And in between, I found a copy of Bible on his table. And I asked him how this became possible, a hardcore revolutionary, and who spent several years in jail, and he actively engaged in militancy, and finally becoming a preacher and offering salvation to the masses. Then he said, the media may be saying many things. I'm just a reader of Bible. I'm just understanding Bible. I am now just exploring the ways to God. And I never said I am a preacher. I am not an advisor. I am not giving you easy salvation. I am not offering anything to anybody. And he said, he began in a poor agrarian family. That is in the Kottayam district of Kerala. So out of poverty, out of discriminations around, his family went to Idukki, to Vellathooval, to buy a little more big area to agriculture to cultivate. And there his family started struggling with extreme poverty, extreme backwardness, the climatical problems. And somehow they managed life, but still discrimination existed. They were financially extremely poor. There were inequalities around. As Stephen found, the inequality is widespread, and it is even more felt in the life of people around him, not in his family, not in his immediate family circle. He, out of compassion, out of concern for other people, when he studied, he understood the real reasons, the real problems of the ordinary people. And he developed a genuine concern for the people. And at the end of life, he told me, it was the real call of God. I had every reason to be not to be compassionate to others. I had every reasons to be somehow manage, do some hard work and escape from that equation. I had the prayer to get maximum education and becoming a bureaucrat. But instead of that, I was deeply concerned about social change. I was deeply concerned about inequality. And then only he started reading about Mao, he started reading about Marx. But at the same time, he related everything to his own people, the tribal people, the Dalit people, the marginalized people, the people who struggling hard from the morning to evening in their lands, but they are returning, they are not getting anything in return. So that kind of people, their engagement, that made him a revolutionary. And while talking to him, I was wondering how such a pious soul, how such a man of lower voice, how such a man of humble behavior, humble approach to other people, from where he got such a courage to become a rebel, how to take arms, how he exhorted other people to take arms and engage in violent actions. That was a contradiction. So that is why I told you initially, the history evolved through conscious, deliberate attempts of the ordinary human beings to engage in everyday struggles. And these ordinary people create history. And their history is our history. Our history is not created by the wealthy persons, not the powerful persons. The ordinary people from humble backgrounds, they created the world. Before meeting Vellathooval Stephen, I went and met another person of his former, he was a former colleague of Stephen. And he was also very much part of the Naxalite movement. His name was Philippan Prasad. He was an advocate. And I met in Trivandrum. And he was also equally humble. But he told me, now he stopped all the revolutionary activities. But I am a devotee of Satya Sai Baba. Satya Sai Baba that time was a human god in India. Many followers for him. So, still I believe Sai Baba, I have disputes with Sai Baba, I have disputes with claims about humanity, humanitarian things. And even Satya Sai Baba, supernatural powers, I have very serious doubt. But I will never ditch the sincerity of Vellathooval Stephen. Because though all these are happening, and that time my article was about the transformation happened to the one-time fiery kind of Naxalites. From Satyasai, from Philippan Prasad to Vellathooval Stephen. And another one was K. Venu. I met him in Thrissur. K. Venu was an engineer that time. One of the brightest science students Kerala had ever seen. The one of the person who written the brightest scientific books in Malayalam. That person was attracted by Naxalism that time. Later he repent. He never joined any religious organization, but he became a champion of free economy and a champion of capitalism. But when I interact with him closely, there also he had a very kind consideration for others. And he was telling people, you utilize, even he is telling the ordinary people, utilize the bad side of capitalism and find the discriminatory side. So the one thing, and another person is Grovasu, still he continues to be a pro-Maoist. He never transformed to Maoism, but he is still Calicut. So now he is about a 98-year-old. Even at the age of 98 years, he is championing the cause of environmentalism. He is championing the cause of human rights. He is working for the downtrodden people, very much active. And another lady, her name is Kajida. She was very little that time during the Naxalite action. But now she is one of the senior most opinion makers in Kerala. She is uniting women. She is uniting people against human rights violations. And I found Vellathooval Stephen, all these of his contemporaries, his friends, they may have different perceptions. They have different perception about faith. They have different perception of life. They may have different political views. But something that connects, that binds them together. That is a deep passion for humanity, the deep respect for humanity. And they always lived, always practiced the very best for others. Whoever approached them, whoever sought any help from them, whoever wanted their intervention to solve their problems. These people, very tenderly, very humanely, they considered other people, they given dignity to the people, and they tried their best to resolve their problems. So that is the way I'm identifying these people as icons of a not so distant past, but a recent past, who made lasting imprints in the case of Kerala and who made some kind of footprints in the life of most of the people and left. And I'm sure if Vellathooval Stephen was alive and he is coming to a bus stop or he coming to a public place, nobody can easily identify. But at the same time, people are very familiar with his name. And people in Kerala, still irrespective of the ages, people still know why he left everything dearer to him and took the armed struggle. Because that time Kerala was an unjust society. The caste hierarchies are at their extreme. That communal and religious tensions were their extreme. And people were not getting enough food. There was food insecurity. The powerful, the rich people, they are becoming very rich, extremely rich, and poor are getting peanuts. And their life was a continuing failed kind of resistance against the people who wielding power. And the governments, they are doing their best only to the upper caste and the rich people. And the governments are totally ignoring the downtrodden. These people took the mantle of the ordinary people and they lived for the ordinary people and they struggled a life. And that is why their vision was universal. Though they may have Vellathooval Stephen born in Vellathooval or later he shifted to Chelachuvadu. But his vision was universal. Because a universal brotherhood, a universal humanity, the human concerns inspired him. Whether he became a Maoist or later he transformed into an evangelist, or he took the job of tailor. Wherever he was, whatever be his interventions, whatever be his chosen roles in time to time, he upheld the values of humanity. He lived for other people. And he lived till the end as an inspiration to other people. But at the same time, these people, they had a collective thinking that they were part of a failed generation. Because they were at one level highly romantic of a new different kind of world, a new brave world. And they took up the ideology as a means to change the world forever. And they thought the ideology can transform the world. The ideology will end the exploitation. The ideology will end the inequality. But the ideology failed them at some time. The same person, their own friends who took up the arms, easily they switched over the loyalty. They became the best saviors, the best protectors of capitalism. And all the capitalism's vicious missionaries were used by these same their fellow people, the old fellow comrades. And they became the new rich, they became the new capitalists, and they used the same tools to attack the ordinary people. So these kinds of binary, this kind of inequality, these kind of differences, they really pained people like Stephen. So that is why, till the end, he has been an icon, he has been a thinker, he was passionate about humanity, and he was very much deeply concerned about the tribals, and the poor people, those who are pushed into the boundaries. But at the same time, he was highly skeptical of the future of the world, who will help them. And humanity, the ideologies, the political ideology, the social movements, they all are failing the people one after another. And these people like Stephen were very much aware of it. So, in such a situation, in such a world, in an unequal world, in a world where such fighters got failed, such ideologies failed miserably. I think you all people, you are a collective of believers, and you may be suggesting solution of salvation as the best means, and you people have to be engaged in faith. Okay, I don't dispute with you. But the thing is that people have to live in this world till their end. And we are destined to make a better world than the days before. A better world where equality and human dignity must be protected and preserved. But people have to have every right to agree and disagree. In nowadays, we are seeing very vicious kind of things happening in our country. The right to expression is getting extremely curtailed, and right to dissent is another issue we are facing, because the dissenters are being treated as the most wanted criminals or unwanted people. Because nobody wants, the authorities particularly want no dissenters. And the right to expression is getting mostly suppressed by the authorities. And only whatever acceptable to the government, acceptable to the authorities, acceptable to the political parties, that are being allowed to be spread. So the minorities are facing insecurity. Not only religious minorities, language minorities are also facing inequality. And the caste and communal tensions are very high. So in this world, we need to continue the kind of social transformation people like Vellathooval Stephen imagined. And the ideology may have failed them. But we have a moral obligation to continue the mission in peaceful manners, in a way not hurting other people, but in a democratic, inclusive way, for the betterment of the larger masses, to the people around. And that is, I think, the collective responsibility of believers, non-believers, secular people, and those who are believing in coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaji. Can I now invite Brother Prashant to present his thesis on the analysis of Naxalism in the light of missionary movement? Over to you, Mr. Prashant.
Thank you, Mr. Shaji, and thank you, Dr. Marcia. My thesis today, this is a experimental thesis. I've been developing over quite some time. This thesis is missionary action in Proto-South Kerala. So I don't call it Kerala because Kerala, at that time, Kerala was not formed. Modern Kerala came only in existence in 1956. So that prevented Naxalism in South Kerala. So if you look at the map of Naxalism, it is mostly concentrated in Malabar. Please, this talk is not about any regional regional upper hand or lower hand or anything like that. If you'll understand, it's a very dispassionate analysis based on journal papers, peer-reviewed journal papers. So let us look at some primary. So the outline of the talk will be the primary reason for Naxalism. As I think it is very self-evident that it is feudalism, right? So feudalism is the main cause for Naxalism, and these Naxals, most of them were targeting feudal lords who humiliated and broke the back of peasants and their peasant, slaves, and their. So it was so there's a collection of rights which were denied. Right. So let me go into the history. So the outline of my talk will be that Travancore and Cochin. For people who don't know Kerala, right? Ancient Kerala, or the Kerala before, there was no Kerala before 1956. So it was divided into three kingdoms, three areas rather. So one was the kingdom of Travancore, the other the kingdom of Cochin, and the third, a British administered territory called Malabar. So these three regions eventually made up Kerala. So so there are number of journal papers now in the last 15 to 20 years now that promote the thesis that Protestant missionaries made a lot of change in Kerala, or created modern Kerala. So this I will go into some of those papers. So before that, we have to understand the social scenario in the 1700s and 1800s. Before the missionaries came, people did not have the right to be free. So 80% of the population were slaves, or what is called in Malayalam as Uriyam Vela. I mean, they performed Uriyam Vela. They were slaves because of caste. They were slave caste. Most of them were slave caste. So Dalits, OBCs, today's OBCs, For example, Nadar, Idava, and Dalits, all these people were slaves to upper caste Nayars and Brahmins. So, and they were denied the right to dress. So many people did not wear a upper cloth. All men did not, and of course, women also could not. There were a graded problem. I mean, there was a graded uh, approach to clothing that the lower caste women could not wear upper cloth before the upper caste men or the dominant caste, and then the right to walk on roads. So there was no right; nobody could walk on roads, particularly near the temples. So this is even today it is there in some parts of India, right? And then I will come to the thesis that mass conversions, uh, and the resulting British rescue and interventions. So this is the outline of my talk. I will. Uh, I intended to show a map here, but I think I couldn't get one of Proto Kerala. That is the pre-modern Kerala, right? So the LMS missionaries, the CMS missionaries, and the Basel Evangelical Society were the three prominent Protestant missions which were established in Kerala. So in 19 LMS missionary was the LMS mission was the first Protestant mission in which started in what is now present day Kanyakumari, which was part of Kerala at that time, which was part of the Travancore kingdom rather. 1799 was the first Protestant convert. His name was Maharasan Vedamanikyam. So which I've covered here earlier. And the first Protestant missionary, permanent Protestant missionary to Kerala was in 1806. So his name was Ringeltop. So, and then by 1816 and 1819, the another group, which was the official Church of England group called Church Missionary Society, they set up shop centered around Kottayam. And then Malabar is the British administered territory was the last, for missionaries to gain admission. It was the Basel Evangelical Society, which is primarily centered around Switzerland. So these three Protestant missionaries focused on social. So I have written down the focus of each of these societies, which are slightly different. So LMS missionaries focused on social reforms, educational, intellectual development, and health, while the CMS missionaries focused on education, social reforms, and language development, while the Basel Evangelical system missionaries focused primarily on education and industries. So this is a very important setting to understand to our understanding of the problem of Naxalism. I hope you can see this thing. So this is a journal paper which is a study for the journal for the study of religion. It is written by a Hindu scholar. He was retired as the head of Department of History, Ayyappan Balakrishnan. He has written this paper, Role of London Missionary Society and Church Missionary Society in the Abolition of Bonded Labor Service in Kerala. So I have summarized this table from that paper. So if you just Google this paper, you can freely read it. It is freely available on the internet. So government proclamation. So by 18, we won't go into too many details. By 1829, the first slaves were set free, and that was because the government proclamation revealing Christian converts from bonded service on Sunday. So you are supposed to go to you are supposed to do free labor for your feudal lord, and on all 7 days of the week, and converted Christians were exempted from that service on Sunday. That is in 1829. So so you can imagine it's been almost 200 years since before that Colonel John Monroe, who was a resident of Travancore and Cochin, he had abolished slavery in some senses. I mean, he had given an order banning slavery, but of course it was never enforced. So it begins as far as 1810s, but uh, as you can see, the time progress of this timeline, by 1905, the final legal end of Udiyam in Kerala, that is the bonded labor system, was progressively. So you can see the number of milestones: 29, 64, 85, um, 93. It was very progressive because as you can imagine, nothing in society works in the flick of a switch. So this abolition of slavery, then this upper cloth struggle. So this journal. This is quoted from the journal Achievements of Christian Missionaries in Travancore, 2018, Journal of I forget the expansion of this, JETAR, June 2018, Volume 5, Issue 6. So here you see this upper cloth movement, right? It starts in 1822, within a decade of the first LMS missionary arriving. So this is again centered in Travancore, very specifically Kanyakumari and Trivandrum. And it takes by 1829, it takes, 1829, the there was an initial order in 1823 which fully gave the right of for converted Christian women to wear upper cloth, and in 1829 this order was rescinded, that it was taken back because of protest by the upper caste. So you can see the timeline. It By 1865, that is when this after 55 years of struggle. This is purely a summary of the journal paper. You can read the journal paper. And so by 1865, this the upper cloth agitation formally ends. So it is there's the number of different events. You can read it on the screen. I don't want to go through all of it, but it was primarily centered around the Nadar, what is at that time was known as Shana, and what now known as Nadar caste. And so you can see a number of by 1865 you can look at the other other thing also, the abolition of slavery. So around the same time, see, 1864, reduce the burden of bonded labor on certain populations. So by 1864, uh, you had the right to dress, you had the right to be free for a lot of people, right? So dress decently, be so that is the first step towards human dignity, right? So, and then there's this next step, right? The next step is the right to walk on roads. So this is the Temple Entry Proclamation, which is still, even today in parts of North India, Dalits or lower caste people cannot walk on roads. So here's this journal paper. Uh, Describing this event, which was actually, this is written by Dr. Shaji, who is the professor and head of Department of History, University of Kerala. This is International Journal for Multidisciplinary Research, and here he highlights the role of C.V. Kunyiraman, uh, a journalist and the founder of Kerala Kaumudi newspaper, which is still there today, in achieving this. He was one of the main people. So let me just at this moment, let's just go to this journal paper, because I feel this is worth kind of looking. So I have presented some of this research earlier in many earlier sessions. So people who have attended those might be little familiar. So if you go look at some of this, this journal paper, you will find that temple entry proclamation was purely due to the threat of conversion, large scale conversion to Protestant Christianity. That is the thesis, that is the core of this journal paper, and if you read this, you will find that, and C.V. Kunyaraman, in using his newspaper Kerala Kaumudi, threatened the Travancore king, saying that this is not something which will I mean, we are going to convert en masse to Christianity. That is the Irava caste, and in order to prevent that, the king uh, you know granted them the right to walk on the roads on the temple. They didn't. It was not immediate. The temple entry was not granted immediately, but just the right to walk on front of the temple, the road on the temple, right? So road leading towards the temple. So I mean, the temple entry, final temple entry came a little later. So there is a misconception in Kerala that this was due to some struggle called Vaikam struggle, which actually was a failure, in which Gandhiji and Periyar and all these national people participated. That was in around 1920s and 30s. So, but this journal clearly states what was the problem at that time, and so you can see that. So I'll highlight this portion, right? A closer analysis of the events preceding the temple entry proclamation reveals many hard realities which prompted the Maharaja to issue the proclamation. It was the net result of the conversion threat of Iravas, uh, the realization of the Divan and the Maharaja about the ever declining numerical strength of Hindus after effects of the victory of the alliance of three major religious communities, Iravas, Christians, and Muslims, right? And so this was simply a response to threat of mass conversion. There was absolutely nothing magnanimous in the Maharaja giving out this the right to walk in front of temple roads. So these foundational. So let me come back to the presentation from the journal. So this foundational thesis, I mean, this foundational freedoms, I call it the foundational freedoms, were very essential in, as you will see, right. Um, we'll come to that later. But this is an article in the Times of India, 2025. This is headlined Malabar still lags behind Travancore. So this is a well-known fact in Kerala, right? I mean, there are a number of political parties which tell this even now, that Malabar has lagged behind, and the reason, uh, which I have explained in detail, is precisely because the focus of these missionary societies were slightly different. And Malabar was dominated by Basel Evangelical Mission, which did not, which of course they did much on social reforms, but their focus was more on education and industries. The famous tile industry in Malabar, the cloth, tellicherry, the weaving, the spinning mills, and all these things. So number of different industries came up there, but social reform was taken. Social reform took a back seat, which was more prominent with LMS and to some extent with CMS. So it is this template of you can see the template of this Protestant missions even today, that Malabar is slightly backward despite industrialization. I'll come to one more critical point. that is conversion. The British intervention and breaking the back of, which broke the back of feudalism. So, so this there is this book is it is a relatively rare book nowadays. It is a Malayalam book, obviously, and um, this is a 500-page book detailing the history of conversions in South Kerala, South Travancore particularly. And I will read from a small section here. ആറ്റിങ്കൽ ആദ്യസഭ കീഴാറ്റിങ്കലായിരുന്നു. And it goes on to some പുരാതന മിഷണറിമാർ ഇവിടെ പ്രവർത്തിച്ചിരുന്ന കാലത്ത് കീഴാറ്റിങ്കൽ ചെറിയ ഷെഡ് വെച്ചായിരുന്നു ആരാധന. ഈ സഭയുടെ ഒന്നാമത്തെ സുവിശേഷകൻ പൗലോസ് കുളപ്പാട് ഒരു ദിവസം ഞായറാഴ്ച ആരാധനയിൽ കൊണ്ടിരുന്നപ്പോൾ കൈപ്പള്ളി വേലായുധൻ പിള്ള പ്രമാണിയുടെ ജോലിക്ക് പോകാതിരുന്നതിനാൽ ദേഹോദരമം ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു. മിഷണറി റെസിഡന്റ് ന്യൂവലിൻ്റെ സഹായത്തോടെ സമാധാനമുണ്ടാക്കിയ നിമിത്തം ആ കുടുംബത്തിൻ്റെ ബന്ധുക്കാരും ചാർച്ചക്കാരും ഒത്തൊരുമിച്ച് ക്രൈസ്തവ സഭയോട് ചേർന്നു. So it says there was an early Protestant church in Kizhatingal, which is on the northern side of Trivandrum district. And the first pastor, his name is Kulapad Paul, and Kulapad is the name of that place. And he's, that's very small locality in Kizhatingal. And he was going to the Sunday service. And because of that, he missed the bonded labor, quota for the week. And his feudal lord, Kaipalli Velayathan Pilla, it is literally given, Pramani. Pramani literally means feudal lord. Jolike പോകാതിരുന്നാൽ ദേഹോദരമം ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു. That is, he was beaten up because he didn't go to the bonded labor, right? And the missionary resident Newell, he was the resident at that time, the Travancore but East India Company resident. He came there and settled the issue, and because of the support from this East India this British official, his entire family got converted. So this is just, I'm just pointing one instance in this book. This is a 500-page book. There are number of instances like this where the feudal lords were put in their place, given by the British intervention missionaries or East India Company residents. So there are a number of, because it is in Malayalam, I am not going further into this details. So this is all happening in Travancore. So this is a check on the powers of the feudal lord, right? So that is the theory I am trying to, or the thesis I am putting forward here, that there is this social ladder which you can see on the screen, right? This freemen, right? You need freemen. You cannot be, the path towards modern man begins with the end of slavery, right? And then you have these rights, basic rights, foundational rights, the right to dress, the right to move freely on, everywhere, right? And then you have education, right? You become educated. Then there is jobs and industrialization, and then there is equal opportunity and rights. And then on top of this is the most. So you have to climb all these steps, right? You have to climb you cannot land on this step. You cannot jump from here and land on this step. That is the gateway to Naxalism, because this is you have to go through it step by step, right? So you cannot jump directly onto, if you just give some jobs, if the man is not free, not dignified, not educated, does not have rights, you cannot expect them, you cannot expect an equal society. So So I'll summarize my thesis is that the main cause of Naxalism is feudalism. Feudalism was broken in Travancore, Cochin by LMS and CMS, which focused on social reforms and getting the social ladder right. There was a conversion in large numbers, which broke the back of feudal lords. So the conversion in Travancore and is very famous. The conversion of particularly one or two castes like Nadar and to some extent Irava. This is very famous, and yeah, as you can see from this, this singular narrative, which there are a number of them in this book. It broke the back of the feudal lords, and uh, f- and we examined those dates, right? In 1864, by 1860s was when the slavery was abolished to a great extent, and the right to dress was given. So, if you look at the timeline again, the Renaissance leaders, Srinarayana Guru, Ayangali, Poigail Apachan, all these Renaissance leaders were all born after 1860. So they were born into a partially free world. They didn't have the full right to walk in temples, but they had the right to be free, and they had the right to be, not slaves, and they had the right to dress and all those things. So, and of course, the education, the schools were coming up, the hospitals were coming up. So, modern society was built. While Malabar was left behind because there was no, the steps were not climbed in sequence, right? I think that the same thing is happening in other parts of India, like I don't want to name the states, but where there are social inequalities and Naxalism and things like that. So, so therefore, Malabar became the hotspot for Naxalism, and this is my and of course, which produced people like Vellathooval Stephen, which you have heard from uh, Sir Shaji. Right. Uh, so this is the thesis I wish to present, and yes, any I guess.
Thank you, Brother Prashant, for your research-based presentation as to how Naxalism could be countered in these parts of Proto-Kerala. And thank you, Mr. Shaji, for comparing the contemporaries of Vellathooval Stephen and bringing out that how injustice couldn't be tolerated by people of his time and people who took up Maoism, and they just wanted to do justice to their fellow brethren, whichever form of injustice they face. They just wanted to counter it. And later in life, they realized that this did not work. So they adopted an alternate theology or ideology, which they came to embrace and they came to propagate and live. So thank you for being with us this evening. And thank you for providing your comparison and also telling us like whether we are people of faith or secular belief, we ought to be people of justice. And justice is a very, very important key foundation for any developed nation. If you see any developed nation, justice has been the foundation. People are taken care. There is no much vast disparity. And their education, their basic necessities, and their healthcare are all being taken care. And that's why some nations are developed and we still are considered to be a developing nation. Even in Kerala, which is said to be a very, very developed state, we still find disparity. And in a nation like India, you know that what percentage of wealth is being owned by the top 1% or 0.01%. And what belongs to the major 40%. Yeah, so we on a daily basis see rampant injustice in this country. So what would be the best ideology? We have to seek truth and we have to find the truth. And Brother Prashant, thank you for your idea of that ladder. Social transformation doesn't happen by a no day or by a flick of a moment, and it doesn't happen by jumping the ladder. It has to be a slow transformational process, and this can be done only when we focus on the development of the whole community. Thank you for both the perspectives that we could hear today, and the forum is open for questions. Anybody has any questions, you're welcome to open up with your questions. You can unmute and speak, or if both of you have any other observations to say on each other's presentations, you're also welcome.
I have a question. Prabhu Guptara.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Can I just ask Mr. Shaji, Sri Shaji, thank you for your presentation. Most interesting. Could you share whether you have written anything more extensive on the basis of your research into these stories, or whether you have just shared it verbally just now? And if you've written, have you written in Malayalam, or have you written in English, or just some background information on the research and what you did with it would be very interesting.
Some years ago, I wrote a detailed article in the Open magazine. It is a national magazine in English. I shared my experience with these former Naxalites. So it is accessible in the internet. Just type Kerala Naxalites Open magazine. It would be accessible easily.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll look for it. I did not see it. I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very
thank
helpful.
you.
Can't hear you. Mercy, your thing is off.
Yes.
Muted.
I'm just asking if the audience have any other questions for Mr. Shaji or for Mr. Prashant.
Brother Shaji, would you like to comment on this? Since you are from Malabar, right? I presume.
Yeah, definitely. And I am agreeing with most of your observations. Because the caste, the kind, and also the social backwardness in Malabar was very high while comparing with the rest of Kerala, the present-day Kerala. So even now, in places like Kasaragod, the backwardness is very visible. And in the case of southern Kerala, it made a lot of advances. Even now we are saying the princely state, the king of the princely state of Travancore, he returned to Einstein once. We are setting up a library, a university in Kerala. Why don't you come and become the vice chancellor? That was a kind of courage and confidence a king, a southern king, a provincial king at that time. And in Travancore, across India, Travancore had the best public transport system once upon a time. The first Indian city having a public transport system, and also a better water supply, the drinking water scheme. So the southern India, southern Kerala, the southern Travancore region, it had many firsts, many advancements. Everything happened because of their engagement or their acceptance to receive new knowledge.
To help us to understand the period you're talking about where the basic change took place between northern Kerala and southern Kerala is 1860s, right? Now, 1860s is 160 years from now, right? 160 years is a very long time. Now, in these 160 years, how come there's been no analysis of this kind within Kerala? And how come there has not been initiatives in northern Kerala, which is, after all, since independence, 75, 80 years have gone? how come there has not been an initiative or series of initiatives in northern Kerala to reduce the inequality? After all, even from southern Kerala, there should have been initiatives to reduce the inequality, because after all, it's the same state now. Earlier, there was a difference between the political system in northern Kerala and the political system in southern Kerala. Now we are all part of the same system, basically. So
Yes.
you would have thought at least the southern Kerala people would have taken the initiative to create equality within Kerala, between North Kerala and South Kerala, no?
But I will tell you, the connection between the North Kerala and South Kerala, it was extremely difficult. Even when Swami Vivekananda came to Kerala, at that time, there was a rail link between Mangalore and Coimbatore through Palakkad and Shonnur in North Kerala. But there was no rail link to the south. So he came to Shonnur. From Mysore, he traveled by train, came to Shonnur. From there, he used a country boat to cross the Bharatapuzha river. Then he used a bullock cart to reach Cochin and then to Trivandrum. And in Trivandrum, he made the famous speech, Kerala looks like a mental asylum. So that was the disconnect between North Kerala and South Kerala. And there was a huge bridge constructed after independence across Bharatapuzha. And I just forgot its name. And it was described as the biggest connection link between the southern and northern Kerala. And when the Vaylar uprising happened in southern Kerala, the North Kerala came to aware of it almost a week later. So the communication.
But this is still ancient history, no? Vivekananda ji
Yeah.
was, 1890s, 1900s.
Yes.
And the bridge was built when? The bridge was built in
Yeah.
19... So we are talking a
Yeah.
long
And even in the 1930s, the communist movement started in Malabar.
Yes.
Then only the people from the Marxists or leftists from Malabar, they traveled to South. And there was a connection between the social reformers or communists and other people. And also the International Congress leaders from Malabar, they moved to South. And this Vaikam Satyagraha was a rallying point because Kelappan, K.P. Keshavan, and all from North. They went to South, they organized the people in Kottayam. And that was practically against the princely state of Travancore.
Yeah. So my point is, it was the northern Kerala people who took the initiative, came to the south for support.
Yeah.
Fine. But the southern Kerala people never felt any desire to help their northern Kerala relatives or brothers or sisters or fellow Malayalis or whatever expression you want to use. It's very strange,
Yeah. Because the Diwan itself, he said they don't want to merge with India. They wanted to retain Travancore as a separate country like Singapore.
Well, that is true. That is true.
I think there was a migration, if I may add, there was a migration from Travancore kingdom, that is the northern side parts of Travancore kingdom to Malabar. You will see a lot of these, the migrants. So they established. From what I understand, they established. They took the plantation economy. Now northern Malabar, I mean particularly Malabar and Idiki and all these places are known for spice plantation. Right?
Yes.
So spice plantations, the plantation economy was primarily started by missionary Henry Baker in Kottayam. He was the one who planted rubber and found that Kerala is good for rubber. And of course, the British people who brought tea and also non-native spices like cloves, which was actually started by grandson of John Cox, LMS missionary John Cox. I am slightly related to John Cox. He's a by marriage. He's a very distant relative of mine. So in general, my observation is that the Idiki, particularly now, this plantation economy. I mean, obviously the cloves and cardamom were already there, but in large scale, plantation economy of rubber and other export-oriented kind of processing, oil of extraction, value addition, etc., were brought by people who migrated from Travancore to Malabar. That's my understanding.
So that's very interesting. They were very happy to go north and exploit the poorer people and the cheaper labor and all that of the north. But there was not really an attempt to bring equality to the north or to bring the social advances of the south to the north, no?
but only poor people migrated. Because after the Second World War, there was a severe food shortage in southern Kerala, in the Travancore
That's
region.
true.
So
true.
there was a scheme called Grow More Food. So the poor were encouraged to go to the northern part. First people went to Idukki, then to the eastern side of Palakkad, then to Wayanad, then to eastern side of Kannur, Kasargod, then to even to South Kerala. People migrated. And the first day, most of these people were poor Christians. And they had 30 cents of land or 40 cents of land. They sold it locally and they went to Wayanad and they purchased 3 or 4 acres. And in the daytime, they will go as laborers in the farmland of some other people. And in the night, under kerosene lamp, they will dig, they will till their own land. So that kind of hard work ensured them some kind of financial security and dignity. And then new generations are now making benefit of all this. So in Wayanad, tourism is growing and agriculture is relatively well. All this happened because the former people, the hardworking people, their forefathers, they did extremely well. They were doing hard work and these people were reaping the profit.
Has that been written up in any way? I'm afraid
Yeah,
I'm
migration. Migration is
internal.
documented. In Malayalam, there is a novel. The writer is S.K. Pottekad, and his novel Vishakanyaka. Vishakanyaka is actually a documentation of the migration of the poor Christians from southern parts of Kerala to the northern part, to the hilly regions. And many studies, there were some many research topics.
And that novel, has that novel ever been translated into English?
I think we have to check. I think.
Be interesting to know.
Yeah, this is a
It will
journal
be
paper. Yeah, this is a journal paper. The title itself is Migration from Malabar to from Travancore to Malabar, a historical study. So this is actually just 2018. So it is recently.
Very recent. Good.
Quite recent. Yeah. So,
could you put the link, please, in the chat or send by email to everybody or whatever is convenient? That would be very good. And the name of the novel, the Malayalam novel as well, please. And if you could just check. If you could check if it's translated to English, it would be very interesting to know. Or into any other Indian language, it would be very interesting to know.
Vishaganya. And who was the journal author, sir?
S.K. Pottekad.
The famous travelogue.
If I may ask a general question, Mr. Shaji, since you had been working with the Naxalites and maybe know their way of working, in many parts where the missionaries are working in AP, parts of Central and North India, the Naxalites are seen to be, what should I say, anti-Christian or even anti-missionary.
Yeah.
So what could be, I don't know if I'm wrong, but what could be the reason for that?
In general, I think because these Naxals, they are finding religion as an enemy, the preachers another enemy, and they are thinking the stumbling block of their revolution is the missionaries. Because they think their kind of activity is getting neutralized by the gospel. It is normally happening everywhere, even BJP RSS people. And they are treating the evangelists saying that they are the biggest enemy of the Hindu Rashtra. Because these people, they are working at the ground level. The missionaries are also doing some charity work. They are addressing the health issues of the people, basic economic needs of the people. So they are being easily targeted as enemies. The same is happening in the case of the Naxalites also in the North India. Because Naxalites, even they are treating the mainstream leftists as their enemies. Other political parties, because they are saying they are a kind of particular kind of people, privileged people. They are the only right people. They don't believe in coexistence.
Okay, no, my my general understanding of Naxalism is wherever there were great inequalities, whether it is in the feudal system in Kerala, in other parts of North India, that is where Naxalism came up to combat this. And in a way, see what I'm trying to say is, in a way, what we missionaries have been doing is to tell people that because of the gospel, that you are having your dignity before as a man by God. And because of that, I mean, you are equal. You need not have others, coming over you and mistreating you. So we are trying to bring in a society which is, what should I say, egalitarian. So our ideals in a way is almost the same. So my question is then, why do they see us as a threat?
That needs interaction, proper interaction between you people and they. But unfortunately, the even government is declaring Bihar is now no Naxalites anymore, and they are almost annihilated the Naxals. So that tribe is getting killed or getting extinct. And personally, I believe democracy and dialogue are the solutions. Because Naxalism was whatever the other kind of regressive ideologies. Their problem, they are not addressing democracy, they are not underscoring the right to have dissent, the right to have different opinion. No Naxalite is allowing any kind of dissent. So whatever the best form of human possibility is democracy and coexistence and dialogue.
We have any other questions? Brother Prashant, any observations that you want to make? Remarks?
No. Thank you.
Okay. So should we close the session?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think
Can I
before we
ask-
close,
Yes.
it will be very
Yes, sir.
helpful. Mr. Shaji, you've not written what you presented today. You've not presented that before in writing, have
Yeah.
you?
Yes. We'll try. We'll do.
I think we met over Facebook because
Yeah.
he had this writing about Vellathooval Stephen when the day he died, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just one month back, barely 3 weeks back.
Hardly 1 month back.
Hardly just 3 or 4 weeks back, Vellathooval Stephen passed away, and he wrote one small article on Facebook. That's how I came across
Thank
Mr.
you.
Shah.
Thank you.
So
It will be very interesting to have the two presentations in any written form, because it's good to have this record, and maybe we can do a automatic, text
yes,
extraction.
Yeah.
But I
transcript
think it
of
won't be this. Yeah, but it won't be the same as if they could please write the papers up. I think it would be very interesting and very valuable to have the papers written up.
Yes. Definitely, we'll
So-
be working on that. Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me take this opportunity for thanking Mr. Shaji for his valuable time and his understanding and deep knowledge about these great personalities who belong to Maoism and Naxalism, and then embrace different ideologies. Thank you for sharing that. And also your observation that we need to learn to coexist, learn from each other, have discussions, dialogues. That is a great learning that all my fellow citizens should learn. Today, with the height of intolerance and height of, inability to coexist, hatred being spread as if that is the gospel, we need people like you to propagate this knowledge that we need to coexist, we need to discuss, dialogue, and we need to understand each other to come out with the best solution for the problems of the nation. So thank you so much for your valuable time. And thank you, Mr. Prashant, for your research and the presentation that you made today, bringing out the stark differences between the three segments of Kerala and bringing out basically what could be the reason, what is the reason, and through it we could extract so much other knowledge also through the discussion. I'm thankful to Professor Prabhu Gupta for being here today to ensure that there is much better knowledge being garnered by his questions, by his encouragement to the discussion, and also by asking very, very pertinent and relevant information from both the speakers. Thank you for your presence today. I also thank brother, I don't know, he has left, I think.
Varghese Nainan.
Nanan. Yeah, he has left. And I think we
Sister
shall,
Oila, Sister Oila, who
Sister Oila for being there for the tech support and the live streaming that she has done. And I think Brother Sunil Chavadra is here, and for all other participants who have been here this evening, I think Dr. Sukoli was also there with one of his another colleague. So thank you everyone for being here. So with that word of gratitude and thankfulness, I think we can close the session. Looking forward to your write-ups coming up in some great forum where Professor Prabhu can use it or somebody else can use it for publishing and making things, well known, widely known. Yes. So thank you. Shall I pray and close? Okay.